Newcastle United are one of the richest clubs in the world, and not only are the owners stupid rich, they also absolutely love the club and are extremely passionate about the club, just like the incredible Newcastle fans. They took to Eddie Howe 2.5 years ago, and Eddie Howe has done a fantastic job to get them into the Champions League, but this season there has been question marks of if he could take them to the next level. Currently languishing in 8th place in the Premier League and knocked out in the group stage of their Champions League group, Eddie Howe has been under some scrutiny, so we are here on the 1st of January to take over Newcastle with up-to-date results, with lots and lots of money, and to see if we can take Newcastle from where they are right now to being the most dominant club in Europe in 5 years. So strap yourselves in. This rebuild is full of wonder kids, full of incredible signings, and a journey to take Newcastle to the best club in the world. Now, the Newcastle team you see on screen, in my opinion, is pretty much their strongest side, with an absolute gem in midfield as well. We've got Nick Pope in goal, Trippier and Dan Burn as the two fullbacks, of Botman and Shah at centre-back, Bruno Guimaraes in DM with Joe Linton, and the golden gem Lewis Miley in central midfielder, who we'll touch on in just a second. Biggie Almiron as the right winger, Anthony Gordon at left wing, and Alex Isak up top. Backups-wise as well, it's probably where Newcastle start to struggle. We've got Martin Dubravka, a fantastic young right-back in Tino Livramento, Jamal Lascelles, Paul Dummett, and Matt Targett all aren't good enough. Sandro Tonali, of course, is banned for the rest of this season. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with him in the summer just yet. Sean Longstaff and Joe Willock are okay. Jacob Murphy, not quite good enough. Harvey Barnes is decent. And Callum Wilson is fantastic, but is constantly injured. And that is the issue with him and Isak as well, because Isak also has his injury worries. Now, I have mentioned Lewis Miley. He is an absolute superstar. And for this rebuild, we're going to be trying to make Lewis Miley also one of the best players in the world. We're going to be pretty much locking him in from probably not the rest of this season, because I'm going to really try and get Champions League football. But from season 2 to season 5, Lewis Miley is going to be an absolute superstar for us. Now, the 1st of January result has already been simmed against Liverpool, and it was a 1-1 draw, which obviously wasn't the case in real life. So we are a point better off than Newcastle are IRL. We are 10 points off of getting Champions League football and 1 point off of getting Europe at all. So minimum we need is Europe, and that is for sure. We are in the Europa League as well, because the simulation doesn't quite work in terms of you can do the Premier League results perfect, but the rest is very, very difficult to go ahead and do. So we're still in the Carabao Cup, we're still in the FA Cup, and we are still in the Europa League. So all of them bits this season we'll sort of hopefully try and not win. I mean, the Carabao Cup and Europa League, that is the FA Cup, I will certainly be trying to win. But of course, we're also in the January window. Now, there is not a lot of money at the club, just £5 million in the budget. That's just what FM gives you to start off with. I'm sure this is the only time we're going to struggle for money. So the loan market is going to be absolutely pivotal for us. Potentially moving some players on. There's some players here that I'm not a massive fan of, which maybe we can get quite a bit of money for. So let's get into it. The first season's January transfer window we're quickly going to do, and then we'll fire through to the end of season 1. So first thing that happened was an outgoing in Fabian Schär. He has left the club to go to Arsenal. He did not want to sign a brand new contract at the club, and I could get £4.5 million for him, which actually gave me a little bit of scope to be able to sign some players on loan that are going to improve the squad massively. And I thought I could bring in a centre-back of sort of better quality with the loan money. So Fabian Schär is out the door, but a fantastic servant to Newcastle over the last 6 years. And the centre-back I decided to bring in was on a permanent basis of Victor Lindelof from Manchester United. I think he's a slightly better centre-back, not a massively better centre-back, but for £6.5 million, a top-class player that can come in 3 years younger and is already very Premier League proven as well. He's consistent and he absolutely loves big matches. So Victor Lindelof is in to be the partner to Sven Botman for the rest of this season. Fabio Vieira has been brought in from Arsenal on a loan contract. We signed him for just £1.5 million for the loan fee, which is absolutely fantastic. So he has come in and he's going to be a brilliant rotation option in midfield. And we've also signed Kang In Lee from PSG, again on loan. This guy can play in the midfield and on either wing as well. And again, a loan fee of just £1.6 million, an absolute bargain to someone that improves the backups and the rotation in this team, and hopefully is going to help take us to the next level. January has been so-so, to be honest. We beat Leicester in the quarterfinal of the EFL Cup, and then I believe we've lost to Spurs. We won 2-1 in the first leg and lost 4-0 in the away leg, so we are out of the Carabao Cup, which is probably quite a good thing because they are also in real life. We beat Birmingham over 2 legs in the FA Cup, so we are through that. We lost to Manchester City in the league, which is slightly slightly frustrating. Beat Leeds in the FA Cup 4th round and then lost to Villa in the Premier League, which again, a little bit frustrating, but Villa are an absolute force to be reckoned with. So we haven't got any more points, which is a little bit disappointing, still on 30, now 16 points outside of Champions League football. But January is always absolutely hectic. We've got a formation which I do quite like in this 4-3-3 system. So I'm hoping we can get into European football, potentially into the Champions League. So let's fire into it, the end of season 1. And well, from the end of January to the end of the season, we were simply fantastic. We put on a much better run of form. We actually ended up finishing the season in 7th place on 65 points. So just 8 points outside of the Champions League places, which is slightly disappointing, the fact we didn't manage to close the gap. But we are going to be in Europa League football next season, which I think, to be honest, in real life, as we look at it for Newcastle, is probably the best we can hope for. Now, I'm also a Manchester United fan, as you can see, and I think that's the best we can hope for. So I think it's probably quite a realistic thing that for next season, we're going to be in the Europa League. Now, the Europa League, we didn't win this season. We got quarterfinaled by Roma, who went on to the final and lost to Liverpool, who are probably going to win it, let's be honest. The FA Cup, we had a fantastic run. We got to the semi-finals and faced Manchester City and lost it. We can't really argue with that. Of course, they went on to go ahead and win it. And the Premier League table, obviously, this season has been fantastic in real life. And Manchester City, according to Football Manager, are going to come back and dominate the league. They got 86 points, Arsenal on 82, Aston Villa securing 3rd on 80, and Liverpool are going to fall off to 4th place on 76. Relegated are the 3 that are there in real life right now: Burnley, Luton and Sheffield United. And as we look at our finances for this season and for this summer, it's going to be very fun. 150 million to go ahead and spend, 160k in wage budget. Development Centre, we've been doing okay. And the players that really stood out for the second half of this Premier League season were, of course, Alex Isak and Callum Wilson. 17 goals for Isak and an assist, and Wilson as his backup with 12 goals as well, which is great to see. Joe Linton, Harvey Barnes, Miguel Almiron, Anthony Gordon, all doing very well. But this summer could be a huge clear out for Newcastle. So let's get into it. £150 million to go and spend. Let's have some fun. And fun we shall have, because welcome in Victor Osimhen. He is the cover star of this rebuild, and an incredibly unrealistic signing for Newcastle at this point, especially dropping down to the Europa League. But it's a Newcastle rebuild. Let's have some fun. He's a very top-class striker with 18 finishing, ridiculous pace, and of course he's going to score a whole host of goals. He had a release clause of 86 million in the second half of last season, scored 8 goals in 16 games, and he is simply outrageous as a football manager. He is extremely consistent, and he loves a big match, 2 of my favourite things. He's already worth 217 million, and I think Victor Osimhen pretty much takes this team to title contenders instantly, and so does a very good centre-back in Leo Ostigard. This guy's his Napoli teammate. He has been in the Premier League at Brighton recently, not as long as 2021. He has got 18 heading and 16 determination and 13 jump and reach at 6 foot tall. So hopefully this guy can be a danger man from set pieces as well. He's extremely consistent. He loves a big match, and he's got a value, well, we signed him for just 18 million, a value of 26 million pounds, and seems like an absolute bargain, to be honest. This guy doesn't get spoken about a lot, but he looks absolutely fantastic, and I'm surprised he's as cheap as he is, because he's also got the ambitious personality, which is great to see. They are pretty much 2 of our biggest signings. Obviously, the signing of Lewis Hall has been confirmed. This one is happening in real life, and he's a fantastic young left back / central midfielder. I'm not sure if he's actually going to, get picked up in real life. I think there's quite a lot going around about he's not really doing very well at Newcastle, but we shall see. I think he's great at FM, so we'll see what we can get out of him. And one signing that I also made was Savio. This guy's been killing it at Girona in real life, and I believe he come through the Man City sort of weird system thing, which is why he's now at Girona, and he's been at Troyes as well, I think, a part of that. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but he looks absolutely fantastic. 18 dribbling, 16 first touch, 16 flair, and great pace. A value of up to £70 million already, and we signed him for just £12 million. An absolute bargain, and yeah, I think that makes sense that he's part of the Man City thing, to be honest. But he looks absolutely fantastic, and again, is going to be here for many years to come. I think he improves our wing position a hell of a lot. And the only other signing I have made is to play sort of the Dan Burn role in that left back is Mario Hermoso. Very similar to Dan Burn, a big centre-back that can play as a full-back and support. So we're going to have sort of that 3-back system as Trippier, or the right wing back, who this season is not going to be Trippier, goes up and attacks a hell of a lot. And the reason I say it's not going to be Trippier is because in real life, he's fallen off a little bit, and Tin Livramento looks fantastic. So this is the team we have got for season number 2. It's Nick Pope in goal. It's Livramento, Ostergaard, Botman and Lewis Hall as the back four, with Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Linton and Tonali in midfield, with Anthony Gordon, Isaac off the left and Osimhen up front. Now the reason I've got Isaac off the left and signed Osimhen is because obviously we've signed Osimhen. I think Isaac is good enough to play off the left wing. He has to be improved there a little bit, but as an inside forward, we saw it last year at times for Newcastle with Callum Wilson up front and Isaac off the left. It could work very, very well. And I think Anthony Gordon is fantastic and can certainly do this role on the right-hand side. And if not, I'm sure Savio can come in and do it as well. The backups were looking like Dubravka, Trippier, Lindelof, Hermoso, Dan Burn, Sean Longstaff, Lewis Miley and Joe Willock, with Savio, Harvey Barnes, Callum Wilson and Elliot Anderson. A very strong side. Obviously this season we're in the Europa League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup and Premier League. And in terms of outgoings this summer, there was not a lot done in just that bit there, but we did sell players at the end of the season. Miggy Almiron left to Chelsea for £33 million and Jacob Murphy went to West Ham for £12 million. So some decent sales in the summer as well. Let's get into season 2. I'm expecting a much better season than last season. This is the season we kick on. We go for Champions League football. Now first things first, I want to show you guys what we did with the team as we locked in Livramento, Lewis Hall and Lewis Miley into the team. Livramento this season played 56 games, got 4 goals and 10 assists. A fantastic season as a first time right back starter for Newcastle. Lewis Hall started in this left back role and was okay. Pretty made my decision up that he's not going to be our starting left back going forward. 59 games, just 2 goals and 7 assists with a 6.78 average rating. But Lewis Miley was absolutely fantastic. At 18 years of age, now turning 19, 61 appearances overall with 7 goals, 7 assists, a 6.89. He's progressing very, very nicely. We'll of course go through his progress at the end of this rebuild and track every single stat and see how he has done. We've done that a lot recently on our rebuilds. In terms of competitions, it was a slightly disappointing season this season, finishing in 7th place again, just 5 points off that Champions League spot. But you can see we've got the UCL next to our name, and that's because we did win the Europa League, which is a very, very good season indeed. We'll watch the highlights of this one. We faced Celtic in the final, who are a decent side, but I would expect us to win. And winning in extra time is a little bit disappointing, to be honest. I'd like to have done a little bit better than that, but it is what it is. Celtic go 1-0 up thanks to a Leisure Bielke goal from a corner. They're going to try build out from the back, but that high press system that we have got counts very, very well. Joe Linton gets the interception. Harvey Barnes blasts us 1-0. Just to drawing 1-1. Dazen Maida finds home to Kyogo Kawashimi to McGregor. Kyogo goes through and makes it 2-1. But of course, that Geordie spirit is not over just yet. Joe Linton sets it down to Ostergaard, finds Dan Burn. Harvey Barnes gets in behind the defence, beats his man and batters it home for 2-2. Looks very good, Harvey Barnes, I've got to say. And in extra time, the 117th minute, Bruno Guimaraes finds Dan Burn to Anthony Gordon, beats his man and puts it 3-2. And Newcastle are into the Champions League thanks to a fantastic victory. You can see from the stats, to be fair, we absolutely dominated them. 26 shots to their 5, a 2.07 XG to their 1, and pretty much 50-50 in possession as well, which is great to see. FA Cup and Carabao Cup, we were absolutely shocking, which is a big shame because last season we got to the semi-final of both. This season, 4th rounded by Birmingham in the FA Cup, quarter-finaled by Nottingham Forest, which is disappointing, but it sets up season 3 quite nicely because now we need to show some consistency in the league. We've got £240 million to spend, which is a little bit of cash. I think we can bring in a couple of players for that. 500k in wage budget as well. We sort of know now that Lewis Miley is going to be one of our starting midfielders. Livramento is going to be starting right back, but a new left back is needed because Lewis Hall is not quite cutting the mustard, that's for sure. Victor Osimhen this season was brilliant. 34 goals in 2 assists in 41 games. I'm not surprised at all. A 7.25 average rating. He is absolutely outrageous, but we need to make sure we're doing better to keep a hold of him, because if we fall out of the Champions League again, there's no way we keep hold of Osimhen. Alex Isak played decent off the wings this season, 18 goals and 5 assists in 33 starts. And in 41 starts, Harvey Barnes with 10 and 12. And Anthony Gordon as his backup, 6 goals and 8 assists in 42 starts is not too bad. Tonali, 5 goals and 15 assists is decent. And Joe Linton with 6 goals and 8 8 assists is also decent. Callum Wilson showed he is at the end of his career now, and Savio showed that he was a very good backup signing for as cheap as he was. 3 goals, 8 assists, and progressing very, very nicely as well was fantastic to see. So I'm sure we're going to see a much better performance out of Savio when he starts starting in the first team on a regular basis. Let's get into some summer signings though, because that's what this rebuild is about. Let's be honest, the signings is what everyone is here for. So welcome in superstar goalkeeper Unai Simon. One thing I figured out with Newcastle is Nick Pope, big injury in real life, probably going to get replaced in the summer, and I maybe done this move a year too late. Unai Simon is a fantastic goalkeeper. We've had to sign him for his release clause at £79 million, but we're bringing in a Spanish international and consistent top-class goalkeeper in Unai Simon. He loves a big match and is extremely consistent. Two of the best things you can get on the game. He's a fairly determined world-class goalkeeper with outrageous stats throughout. So we're bringing in an absolute superstar, and in goal, when doing simulations especially, you cannot miss on the goalkeeper. They have to be of top quality. We've realised we need a brand new left back, and someone that's going to come in and be a rotation option is Van der Laan. He is a cheap left back from Palmeiras, just £5 million. To be fair, I actually run out of money, and you'll see because we've made a lot of signings. So this is one of the last signings I made. He's consistent. He's not great in big matches, but it's simply okay. And a young Brazilian left back that we can hopefully get some bits out of. I've signed the wonder kid in Archie Gray for a very good price, £20 million, rising up to I believe 35 is what we're signing for, and he looks absolutely fantastic. And we signed him because I believe we sold Sean Longstaff. I'll go for the outgoings in just a minute, but 19 years of age, an absolute superstar. If you've not watched the Leeds rebuild from the other day, he's absolutely brilliant. Quinton Hartman has also been signed as the star left back. Now, this guy is fantastic. He looks to be a brilliant wing back, especially a wing back on attack. Gets down that wing, 15 crossing, great pace, decent enough defensively as well, and signed for a quite expensive £39 million, but I believe he takes our left back to the next level. He's much better than Lewis Hall. And as a backup to Livramento, because Trippier is at the club, we've signed Max Aarons for just £10 million. Very determined, great acceleration, great pace, can also cross a ball as well. So for £10 million, didn't really kick on at Bournemouth, was fantastic at Norwich, we all know. So feels like a very, very good signing. We've signed a superstar centre back because Ostergaard wasn't the greatest last season. And for £50 million from Barcelona, this guy is fantastic. It's Eric Garcia, of course. He was obviously come through the Barcelona Academy, went to Manchester City with Pep Guardiola, and now he's gone back to Barcelona, and now he's come to the Geordie land of Newcastle. He's consistent, loves a big match, and a ball-playing defender, which adds another, sort of what we've done is we've moved Newcastle from a bit of a ratty defensive 4-3-3 team to a ball-playing, exciting, front-footed team. You look at the fullbacks now, Livramento and Hartman. You look at the ball-playing defenders of Botman and Garcia. A goalkeeper like Unai Simon who can play the ball as well. And a midfield three of Tonali, Joe Linton and Bruno Guimaraes, who are all comfortable in the ball. A very good progressive team now, which is good to see. And Eric Garcia helps us take that next step. 2 free signings I've made. One is Mattia Zaccagnini. This guy was simply too good to turn down. He's got a value of £100 million, and we signed him for free. He is 30 years of age and has been doing very well over at Lazio the last couple of seasons, and is an absolute no-brainer of a signing, to be honest. So welcome in Zaccagnini. And the last one is a backup to these strikers. Is Nelson Viper, fantastic young striker in this game, and again a free contract. Hasn't kicked on in this save at all, so I don't really know how he's going to do, to be honest. He could flop or he could turn out fantastic for a free signing. He's very determined. We know how good this guy can be on FM, so welcome Nelson Viper. Outgoings wise, like I said, Trippier has left the club. Hermoso we brought in for free last summer. We've sold him for £7.5 million, so a bit of a good piece of business from us. Sean Longstaff has left the club for £35 million. 2 Leeds, so we signed their wonder kids Archie Gray for 28, so we've made £7 million and swapped Longstaff for Gray. Absolute genius, if you ask me. Ali Anderson's at the club to go Nottingham Forest for £15 million. With Lewis Miley coming through, he's sort of not kicked on and has, been replaced. Joe Willock's at the club to Tottenham for £31 million as well. So outgoings-wise, we've cleared out some deadwood and we've certainly made the team more exciting. And like I said, we've now built that sort of ball-playing team. Simon, Livramento, Garcia, Botman, Hartman, Bruno G, Miley and Tonali, Isaac, Zaccagnini and Osimhen. Nick Pope, Aarons, Lindelof, Ostergaard, Van der Laan, Lewis Hall, Joe Linton, Archie Gray, Savio, Barnes, Viper, Dan Burn, Leo Shahar, Zaha, Yakuba Minte and Anthony Gordon as the backups as well. A serious improvement has been made in the whole squad, which is what Newcastle are lacking in real life. We went through at the start and it was Jamal Lascelles and Paul Dummett still here. We've now got Ostergaard and Lindelof as the backup centre-back. So a big improvement, which of course helps us massively now. We're in all these competitions, the Premier League, the European/South American Club Challenge, the Champions League, the UEFA Super Cup, the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. We now need to start lifting some more trophies. Just a Europa League to our name so far. Let's just times that by 2, shall we? Let's get 2 trophies in this window. Let's go. Well, we've brought the FA Cup to the Geordie land of Newcastle. Joe Linton with the header to kick things off. And as Szoboszlai is down injured, we move on very quickly. And Tenali bursts us home to go 2-0 on, even though now Savio's down injured. A savage game between Liverpool and Newcastle. Some great play from us there, spreading the play right to left. And Zakagini finds the top corner with an actually outrageous finish. Kelleher was getting no near that. We were absolutely dominant again. 17 shots, Liverpool's 10, showing we have progressed into a very good side. And great to tick that one off the list because that's the only trophy we won this season, which is a little bit disappointing. And in the Premier League, again, we didn't have the greatest of showings. We come 6th place on 74 points. And we've got a long way to sort of confirming the sort of title of this video of becoming dominant in Europe. That was the whole point of doing this Newcastle save. And so far, we've not even won the Premier League. We're about to go on to Season 4 and Season 5. So we pretty much need to win it back-to-back from here. But the good news is we are only 6 points off top of the league. It's a very tight Premier League, which is good to see. So we finished on 74 in 6th. Liverpool in 76th in 5th. Chelsea on 74 in 4th. Villa on 79 in 3rd. Arsenal on 79 in 2nd. And United won the league on 80 in 1st. Man City dropped all the way down to 8th place this season on 64 points. I can't imagine Pep's there anymore. He's not. Sean Gautier is the new manager of Man City. Of course, as an interim. That I was about to say, what on earth is going on there? Very interesting. But yeah, that was sort of the season, really. Sadly, in the Carabao Cup, we were semi-final by Arsenal. We did win the UEFA Super Cup, which is great. I don't really care about that one, to be honest. And the Champions League, we ran a 16 by Arsenal, who I believe got to the final. They didn't actually get to the final. They got to the quarterfinal and were knocked out by Chelsea, which is disappointing. The fact we didn't even lose to the winners. In terms of the squad, we obviously did very well this season. 27 goals from Isaac, who actually outscored Osimhen with just 25 goals. Gordon with 13 and 6. And I'm surprised Osimhen isn't asking to leave yet, to be honest. 5 goals and 16 assists from Tonali, 7 and 12 from Savio, 8 and 2 from Zakagini, 9 and 4 for Harvey Barnes, and 13 goals and 6 assists for Anthony Gordon, who has proven to be a real star player in this Newcastle team, even though we've spent now around £300 million. So seems like an absolute bargain of a signing a few years back. Season 4 has to be the season we progress massively now. We've been quite disappointing so far in this rebuild, but bear with me, we're about to take a big step up next. And that big step up is going to happen with just 3 brand new signings and a tactic change. Signing number 1 is Florian Wirtz. He is an absolute superstar central attack midfielder, and his stats show it all, exactly why he is quality. And he's going to come in to a central attacking midfielder role. He cost us just £76 million, which in my opinion, for a cam of this level with these sort of hidden stats of extremely consistent and loves big matches, is an absolute bargain. So welcome in Florian Wirtz. Callum McKenna is a goalkeeper I've signed for £3.3 million. He looks absolutely brilliant. He's a young Scottish lad, and he's got potential to be 3.5-star kind of ability. Already a 2-star player. So I'm from Queen's Park in Scotland. So if you're doing a save in a championship or someone like that, this guy could be a serious pickup. And already a value of £35 million. Is the Scottish number 1 at 19 years of age. I've never seen him become this good before. Welcome, Callum McKenna, absolute hero. And the last signing is a big centre-back upgrade in Bremer. £57 million from Juventus. Again, adds that defensive quality into the team. 17 tackling, 17 marking, 15 heading, 16 jump and reach, 18 strength. Very fast. An absolute superstar of a centre-back. And like I said, the tactic has now changed into the best 4-2-3-1 by Josh Daly. So shout out to Big J Dizzle. He has allowed me to use this tactic. Unai Simon in goal. Livramento and Hartman as the 2 fullbacks. Bremer, Botman, Bruno Gomes and Tonali as a double pivot in the 6s. Isaac, Savio, Wirtz, Osimhen, a very strong side. McKenna, Aarons, Garcia, Lindelof, Joe Linton, Archie Gray, Lewis Miley, Anthony Gordon, Zakagini, Nelson Viper, Leo Shahar and Yakumba Minty are here at the club. We're about to make a big old stride into winning some trophies. Premier League, Europa League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, Community Shield, all coming up, hopefully, in season number 4. The best thing you can do when going for lots of trophies is lifting the Community Shield at the start of the season. Get the season off on the right foot, and we did end up winning this one on penalties against Manchester United. Anthony Gordon with the goal for us, Rafa Varane for Manchester United, and that is exactly how you need to start your season. The way you end your season is by winning a European trophy, and the Europa League has come home to Newcastle. A 3-2 game against Spurs, a very tight one, a very difficult one, but Max Aarons got us underway with a goal in the first 10 minutes. It took all the way to the 70th minute for the rest of the goals to come through. Heung-min Son at the back post makes it 1-1. Unai Simon definitely could have done better that one. We're going to see here a massive mistake from Son, and Osimhen gets on the end of that one as they try to go back pass to the goalkeeper, and Atioglu is in goal, makes a mistake, and Osimhen punishes him for that one. Miley and Cam now finds Lindelof out on that right hand side. He's going to get in the ball in the box, and Osimhen wants Champions League football, so there he goes and makes it 3-1. A fantastic finish, and now Spurs are going to score with a last minute goal. Robert Reinian from distance does end up scoring and making it 3-2, but we couldn't care less. Another game will be dominated, another final we have won, a 3-2 victory in the Europa League, a victory in the Community Shield, and a victory in the Premier League as well. 88 points, like I said, it wasn't too big of a step up we needed to make, just I think 12 points, and a few tactic tweaks and a change in signings into Florian Wirtz and Bremer, getting some top class ready-made players has made the difference. 88 points is what it took to win the Premier League this season. 10 draws is a little bit too much for me, but just 2 losses show we were very, very hard to beat, and 26 wins was enough. Osimhen outscores Haaland, outscores Nunes, gets most average rating, gets most player of the matches, and Max Aarons with the second most assists to Sterling on 14 means we had a fantastic season this season. We look at the goals. Osimhen scored 60 goals this season. Alex Isak with 23 goals and 13 assists. Anthony Gordon, 21 goals and 13 assists as well. Matthias Zaccagini with 15 and 11. Savio, 14 and 15. Florian Wirtz, 9 and 11. Bruno Guimaraes, 6 and 6. Bremer, 6 goals, no assists. And then that heading helped us a lot. Quinton Charlie hit Hartman, 13 assists in 3 goals in 49 games. And Max Aarons, 27 starts, 29 off the bench, 20 assists. Livramento, when he started, got 19 assists, and Tonali with 12 assists as well. Whereas the man, the myth, the legend, Lewis Miley, he only started 6 games this season and 17 off the bench. We sort of now had to start prioritising quality, and Lewis Miley sadly falls just behind Florian Wirtz, who had a decent season, 9 goals and 11 assists. But Miley, when he played, was also very, very impressive and is still growing an outrageous amount, and is only 21 years of age. So we've still got time to make this guy a superstar. We ended up coming 5th rounded in the FA Cup, sadly by Manchester City, which is frustrating, and same with the Carabao Cup semi-final by Manchester City, to lose to them when they are down in 7th place. Who have they got in charge now? No manager. Wow. Okie dokie. Who actually got made in charge of them? Who was it? Luis Enrique, and he got sacked. That is heartbreak. City winning the Conference League. That's hilarious. I cannot wait to see that in real life. Data Hub wise as well, I think I have to show you, we were incredible with goals this season. 2.87. And as we look through the stats of the whole team as well, 109 goals scored this season. This tactic is very impressive. I did make a few tweaks to it. I made it slightly more defensive than the attacking variant that Josh Daly did end up releasing. I've made it a slightly more defensive variant, made it wing backs on support rather than an attack. And I dropped it to positive, dropped the line, I think, from high to medium, because our team isn't absolutely fantastic. And I'll say that when downloading tactics, be very clever with what you do, because my team didn't suit that ultra attacking 4-2-3-1, but I could see the tactic would work very well with a few tweaks. So that's what you got to do also when downloading tactics. So just make a few tweaks here and there to what suits your team. I knew the high line wouldn't help us much. Botman isn't the quickest centre back in the world. Bremer is fairly quick, but not the most. And when a wing back's going to bomb forward, a high line is not going to be helpful, because we're going to get caught out way too much. So I dropped that high line, and the tactic worked an absolute treat. Top of the league, winning the Europa League as well. Next season, we have to win the Champions League. That is how we complete this rebuild. So let's step in to the signings of Season 5. Well, £138 million was spent this summer, and I have just spoken about not having the quickest of backlines. So welcome in a extremely quick centre-back in Mark Gurr here, signing of £83 million from Crystal Palace. I love this guy. He is fantastic. He's very quick. He is absolutely outrageous in pretty much every stat you want as a centre-back as well, which is great to see. He's extremely consistent. He loves big matches, and a signing of £80 million is an absolute bargain fee for Mark Guehi. And of course, it's not the only signing we've made this summer as well. We've also improved our left-back position just ever so slightly from Hartman to Milos Kerkez. This guy is at Bournemouth in real life and was a signing in the summer from AZ Alkmaar. A huge fan of Milos Kerkez. He is absolutely outstanding. Very determined, very good young left back as well. And he's now signed for us here at Newcastle. The Hungarian cost us 50 million quid, but after 4 seasons of consistently playing very well in the Premier League, I'm not surprised at all. He's consistent. He loves a big match and was probably my favourite left back to sign last year. So welcome in Milos Kerkez. And the last signing I have made is one for anyone that does pick this up on Patreon, is Luan Felipe. This guy is a fantastic young striker. Looks very, very good and was signed for like £7.5 million. A quick touch on Patreon. Thank you to the legends on screen right now. If you guys do want to help support the channel in any way or gain access to this exact save file with Newcastle, either at the start of it, in the start of Jan with the up-to-date results, or at the end of it with how we finish in season 5, which is absolutely outrageous. That is all on the Patreon for £5 a month. So a massive thank you to anyone that does go ahead and do that. The tactic this season is the exact same, of course, after last season, but the team is looking extremely, extremely strong. Simon in goal, Livramento, Kerkez, Botman, Guehi. Such a strong young defence. Tonali and Bruno G in midfield. Isaac, Savio, Wirtz and Osimhen up front. Backups wise, young McKenna in goal. Aaron's at right back. Garcia and Bremer as the 2 backup centre backs. Remember at the start of this, it was Lascelles and Dummett. That's how much we've improved. Hartman, Joe Linton, Archie Gray, Gordon, Miley, Zakagini, Nelson Viper, Leo Shahar, Leo Ostergaard, Yakumba Minte, Lilian Filippini, and Victor Lindelof are all still here. A very, very strong Newcastle side. I would say, honestly, quite a realistic rebuild as well. I mean, as we actually look through, I sort of said it wasn't going to be realistic, but as we look through the signings we've made, I wouldn't say there's anyone here that is absolutely outrageous other than Victor Osimhen. I think we've done quite well with spending money. I mean, over 5 years, around 600 million, I don't think is that bad, especially when selling around 175 million. So around a 400 million pound net spend with a club like Newcastle looking to get to the next level, ending up with the team we have. I think that's quite a good rebuild. So let's get into season 5. Let's see how we can do for season 5. Well, I've had to speed the clips up. That is how many trophies we have won. Signing number 1, not signing. Trophy number 1 was the Community Shield. Livramento got off to a fantastic start before Botman blasted it home into the top corner. Some fantastic play before Wirtz gets on the right-hand side, gets it in the box, and Osimhen makes it 3-0 against Chelsea. Tonight with the corner, backstick, Osimhen makes it 4-0. Chelsea go ahead and score. We don't care about that. A 4-1 victory and an absolute battering of Chelsea in this one. We just got to add 18 shots to their 16. 51% possessions to their 49%. XG 3.81 to their 1.94. A fantastic way to kick the season off against a very, very strong Chelsea side as well. We then moved on later into the season and saw the Carabao Cup come into things, where we faced against Manchester United in the final. And of course, again, we absolutely battered them. An Osimhen penalty got us underway before a corner whipped into the box. Archie Gray gets it down, heads to the byline, pulls it back to Livramento, fires it towards Savio, and it comes off him, and we score again. Aarons intercepts the ball up to Rashford. Wirtz finds an outrageous pass to Osimhen, and he bags it home for 3-0 in the 82nd minute. And Manchester United were very quickly dispatched of as well. So to tick it off already, Community Shield and Carabao Cup have already been won. Can we do the domestic double over Manchester United? Alexander Isak got to find a way with a goal from the penalty spot, and a goal this time from Yakumba Minte. Hartman gets down to the byline, whips it in, and Minte with the goal. Just a quick shout out to Yakumba Minte. Not many people know about this guy. He is a fantastic youngster from Gambia. He's at Newcastle in real life. I believe he's out on Feyenoord on loan this season. He is indeed. And he was actually quite good in this rebuild, progressed very nicely. Just a quick shout out to your boy Yakumba Minte, a fantastic young player indeed. We then had the UEFA Super Cup, which is actually, of course, at the start of the season. I won't show you the highlights of this one because we'll have a million highlights. Trust me, there's still more to come. We won 2-1 in the Super Cup against PSG. Osimhen and Botman got goals, Gonçalo Ramos for PSG. And you can see from the stats how dominant we were and what a super team we have built. And that's against the PSG team with Kvaratskhelia, Gonçalo Ramos, Nicolo Zaniolo, Xavi Simons, a very strong side. We've played them off the park and absolutely dominated them. The one trophy we really wanted to win this season was the Champions League. And we faced up against Bayern Munich in the the final of all teams. And the Bayern Munich team with Jeremy Doku, Yasser Asprilla, we were better. We won this game 4-3. Livramento gets it in to Lewis Miley, who scores in a Champions League final for Newcastle. Hartman finds Miley. Hartman finds Miley. This guy's the superstar. Honestly, use him in your saves if you do a Newcastle save, or if you're not, sign him. He's fantastic. Jeremy Doku gets Bayern back to 2-1 and actually makes it 2-2 from the spot as well. Before we go ahead and build up a very nice goal, Alex Isak drives left. Miley in the box, misses it. Savio does not. He makes it 3-2. Davies on the left-hand side for Bayern, whips it in. Asprilla makes it 3-3. But Newcastle weren't dead there. It was time for extra time, and Zakagini finds Tonali from range, drills it home. 103rd minute. Newcastle United Champions League winners. And what a fantastic sight to see Lewis Miley with a brace as well. He has done so well in progression. 17 decisions, 16 determination, just 10 starts, 16 off the bench, 7 goals and 7 assists this season. We look through the progress for him as well, from all of his stats of the whole time. He's progressed so nicely. He has played 90 games for us with 7 goals, 11 assists in the league, 6.87. Given the fact this guy's 21 now, 22 years of age, and we're a team which is pushing every single boundary, that is extremely impressive. And 2 goals in a Champions League final. That is nothing to snuff your nose up at. And we weren't done there either, because we also won the Premier League with 80 points this season, 49 goal difference, 6 losses, 8 draws, and 24 wins. A fantastic season. And as we look at it, a complete clean sweep. We won every single trophy there was for us to win. The Premier League, the Champions League, the Super Cup, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, the Community Shield, the 6-tuple with Newcastle in Season 6. And we look through the stats as well. The most goals scored, the 5th most goals conceded. And that's because we score lots of goals and we don't care about defending. Osimhen, 51 goals in 40 starts. Outrageous stats. Isak, 24 and 11 assists in 32. Savio, 18 goals, 19 assists in 54 games. I've never picked this guy up before, and I'm never not picking him up again. Outrageous player. And again, since the start of this save with the progression, if we look at this guy of all time in his attributes, gone up a lot in lots of different stats. Absolutely fantastic player. 7.18 average rating this season, and now a Brazilian international. Zakagini was a free contract. 14 goals and 11 assists in this season. Brilliant player. If this guy comes available, go ahead and get him. He's fantastic. Florian Wirtz, 13 goals, 20 assists. Livramento, 14 assists. Another player to shout out, a youngster at Newcastle in real life right now. Look at his progression all time at right back. Plus 3 anticipation, 3 concentration, 2 decisions, 2 leadership, 3 positioning, 2 vision, 3 marking. Defensively, he's made a massive upgrade, and already going forward, he's fantastic. So what a player he has been. And the last player I want to shout out is Anthony Gordon. This guy has been fantastic in this whole save. He obviously at Newcastle right now, he's a bit of a standout player for them. Even when going forward to the next level, Anthony Gordon can still be a superstar for Newcastle. We have dominated the Premier League, back-to-back wins. We have just won the Champions League. We have won every single trophy there is to win. The Newcastle rebuild is over. If it's the first rebuild you're watching the channel, there's lots more down there, just like the Leeds one released just on Friday.